Gavin, thank you as always for talking to us. It's another defeat, but you must be immensely frustrated by the manner of it this afternoon.
Immensely. I don't care what anyone says, the scoreline doesn't reflect the game. But what it reflects is probably the difference in the finishing. We have probably more chances and finish less, and they have less chances and finish more. But the manner of some of them is not acceptable. I'll have to go away and look at it, as I always do. I'm not trying to sound like a broken record. I always go away. I don't want to get too emotional in the aftermath of it, the immediate aftermath. I go away, look at it, and you may see things differently when you do. There's so much that I was really happy with today, so much, and I felt that we would be pretty much okay, even when we conceded what was turned out to be a poor goal just for half time to let them back in, when in fact we probably dominated the first half. I didn't go in with any sort of didn't go in with being down. I was massively positive, and I felt that we would kick on from there. And to a certain extent we did a little bit. I'm not sure we started well enough after half time, but we weren't disastrous. But the manner of some of the goals, someone's just said to me, don't get any luck, people slipping over at poor times and stuff like that. I'm not about that. I'm really not about that. Some of the goals are poor, and we haven't defended properly yet again. And the long and short of it is, the scoreline does not reflect the game. But putting the ball in the net is what you've got to do, and that's what we didn't do well enough today. And also we didn't defend well enough. So again, it's just a recipe for losing football matches, and that's exactly what we've done.
You mentioned in your programme notes you wanted the players to play with freedom and be a little bit braver than last week. It sounds like in the build-up that was the case, but as you say, we didn't test the goalkeeper enough.
Well, I disagree with you on that. I think the players did play with a freedom today. Yeah, testing the goalkeeper is something different. I thought we moved the ball really well. I think the two goals that we've scored are well worked. You'd look at it and you'd think, okay, we've well worked them. The goals that they've scored are poor defensive errors. So you have to look at that and go, we're actually playing some quite decent stuff at times, without being able to keep the ball at the net at the other end. So it's a results business, and results are what matter. And we've come up very, very short today against a side that realistically, no disrespect to them, we should be doing a lot better against.
How much was your half-time team talk affected by the timing of their equaliser?
No, it wasn't. I went in exactly the same as we'd done at 1-0. Yeah, we talked about the goal because it could be better. I think Zav doesn't need to cut the ball out. If Mickey maybe speaks to him and leave it, then it probably runs out for a throw here, and we regroup. So a few small points there, but I didn't want to detract from what they'd done in the first half, because effectively they controlled the first half really. But the second half was a bit more of an even affair, and I think as we've seen in recent weeks, when we open ourselves up to try and get something back in the game, sometimes it can have the effect that we open ourselves up too much. It's very difficult to know what to do there, because you're chasing the game. Once you're chasing the game, you've got to try and get yourself back in it. So I'm massively disappointed with the result. It's not one of those days where I can go, do you know what, fair play to them, they came and played us off the park. They haven't. I think, and I don't mean them any disrespect, they've come here and won, and they've got great respect for Danny, but that is massively in our power to avoid, and we haven't. And it's the same old again. So, yeah, I've got to try and put it right, because, people have been here and supported us again today, and it's another 4 goals. It's ridiculous.
There are some accusations that our own quality may not be up to the standard. How would you respond to that?
It's quality in what way? Are you talking about in finishing? Are you talking about, there's so many different ways in quality?
Squad themselves.
Oh, mate, listen, I've got to change things. There's no question. I've got to This is. Look, you've asked me the question, and I'll tell you the answer, and I'll put it out there. This has been extremely difficult to recruit this season. It's extremely difficult to recruit when you're trying to get players from step 2, which is why we've seen a few of the players, loan players, come in here. We as a club need to do things differently. I'll put it out there. It's been very, very hard to recruit those players, although it's not that I don't feel supported. I absolutely do. But there is a realism about where we're at, and there's a realism about what the clubs are in and around us, and we're trying to find our way. It's not a criticism. We're trying to find our way, and that has been probably the hardest thing I've had this season, is to recruit players from the level, without a shadow of a doubt, because we've stepped up in levels, and those levels there's a big gap. There's a big gap in what players expect. There's a big gap in standard, and it's been a difficult one to try, a difficult gap to try and bridge.
There were some crucial moments in the game. You mentioned a lack of communication defensively. There are also a couple of occasions, perhaps players not getting on the end of crosses, Hutch opting to square it first half rather than shoot. How much do you put that down to a lack of understanding between the players, and how much do you attribute that to confidence?
Look, you mentioned Hutch's one where, I was disappointed he hasn't got a shot off. Don't get me wrong, but he makes that decision and sees it how it is. Doesn't come off. If he squares it and Harry scores, then everyone goes, great stuff. Yeah, maybe a bit of confidence, maybe. I don't know whether it's the understanding between the players, because you could level that, because they haven't been out there too long together, haven't had too many minutes together. But for me, I think it's a if he gets his first touch a bit better, then it's a shot on goal. It should be, and that's what it should be.
First start for Jack Smith, and a first goal in town colours was a silver lining.
Well, as I said to you, the 2 goals that we've scored have really well worked. Really well worked. We've had to work very hard for our goals, and that's a positive to take out of it. But they haven't. Yeah, look, we identified before the game that those areas that Smudger arrived in were areas that we felt that Aveley did poorly in. So good, we were happy that's listened, and we've got that right. And I thought his performance was good. I thought he died a little bit in the end, which is understandable because he's not had a lot of football after his appendix. So yeah, I'm pleased for him. I'm really pleased for him because it's been a difficult few weeks for Smudger, but we've given him a start, and I think largely he can be very happy with himself. And we try and move on.
No respite at all. Obviously, Welling coming up on Tuesday. With them having won today, it puts the onus firmly on us, doesn't it?
Yeah. Listen, it's a massively difficult game for so many reasons. I can't, at the moment, we've just got to go there with some confidence that we can get something, because I do believe this team can do that. It's got to defend better. And that may be the fact that we need to bring some in to be able to do that. That's as simple as it is. I'm not sitting here thinking that we've got it right with the players at the moment and everything will fall in our lap. It won't be a problem. There are some fundamental reasons why we're losing football matches, and Welling will be good enough to exploit that. We need to start getting points on the board very, very quickly. A point today, I'd have been disappointed walking off with that at one stage. But you go into that last 10 minutes game, you think, well, I'll be delighted with it now. But that's where we are.
Thank you, Kevin. See you Tuesday.
Cheers.